my saying for Capri, my company, is automate everything.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the HighLevel Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I am joined by Lee Reynolds from Grove Communications, who Lee is a veteran marketer who has recently sort of niched down into the dental space and is now using HighLevel to replace a bunch of tools, I'm told, and also to start building some cool booking bots. Lee, thanks for joining.
Howdy.
We're also joined by Quinton Newman, who I'm told is the architect of the booking bots that you guys are working on together for your HighLevel account. Thanks for joining, Quinton.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Lee, talk to me a little bit. You've done a lot of marketing in your day. We talked about earlier, and now you're working with dentists. So talk to me a little bit about like the challenges you're seeing and the solutions that what you're looking to solve by using HighLevel and specifically bots.
So from our agency standpoint, we have a lot of different tools that we're using. We've got pages in WordPress, and we've got pages in ClickFunnels, and we've got bots in 2 or 3 or 4 different applications, ManyChat and Podium and that kind of thing. We track stuff in CallRail. We do reporting within Facebook, and we do reporting within Google Analytics, and at the end of the day, it ends up becoming this little bit of a mess for the dental practices to keep track of everything. And then from the front desk perspective, it seems like a lot these days that a lot of the front desks are somewhat overwhelmed. And I don't know if it's because of COVID or it's different this year than it was last year. And you seem to have fewer front desk people, and they're trying to do so many different things and rescheduling people from the spring when nobody could get into the dental offices now. And then so we're working on different ads that are trying to bring people in for different things. Based on this part of the year, most of the dental practices, their hygienes are full because of them being closed in the spring, right? And so, but they need higher end and stuff, and so it's just a matter of sort of keeping track of all of this. So the problem that we're trying to solve with this is how do we communicate with people coming into the dental practices, either by SMS chat, by Facebook chat, by phone, email, filling out a form on a website, and then being able to have the same front desk be able to manage all of it, follow up with everyone, not leave money on the table, and that kind of thing. And so Quinton's Capri product that in HighLevel takes a lot of the guesswork from us about how to manage all of the different conversations that we can have. I sat down with my business partner and we started to whiteboard something similar to this about a month ago. What are all the different things that we need to ask? What do people ask? What day can I get an appointment? What times are you open? What insurance do you take? That sort of thing. That when we look at the Facebook questions that show up in the morning in just the normal routine of just going through the accounts, the front desk has to get back to all of these people, and a lot of times there are questions that get answered over and over again. But then we look at what Quinton wrote out, and it's 10 times what we would have ever come up with, and it's built so it's correct, so we don't screw up in front of the client the first time. So I've only been using HighLevel for about 2.5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And we're in the process of moving everybody over into this. I'll get to kill my ClickFunnels account. I will get to kill Infusionsoft, I hope. I will get to kill CallRail,
yeah.
all of it for a single place where every one of our practices can sign into the same dashboard, and we know 90% of what's going on over the phone without even logging in ourselves. So I'm looking forward to getting out of this mess. And
to finish that HighLevel plug, you're also going to be able to now present that under your logo, right? As your product, which is what we're most proud of, is to give this white label to agencies. So you're no longer saying like, yeah, we get you a ClickFunnels account, we get you a whatever account and another account.
It's
It's
all
like,
high
hey,
level.
you just get an account with us and we solve your problems. So
We custom
it's
made a
beautiful.
dashboard rather than take 10 hours to explain what HighLevel is. Right.
So I think that is what you described as sort of the natural evolution. So if we have younger marketers or young marketing agencies watching, I think I want to reiterate the challenge that you're going to encounter at some point, I feel like in the natural evolution of a marketing agency, which is, hey, first you get good at generating leads, right? You start sending them to clients. You're super excited because you're like, man, we got so many leads for such a good price. And then you end up in these conversations where you're like, hey, Dr. Bob, like, how's it going? I see we sent you like 82 leads last month. Like, aren't you psyched? And he's like, no, I'm not psyched. None of them showed up. These leads stink. Like, I don't think I want to pay you anymore. And you're like, whoa, what? Well, of course, nobody just showed up. Like, did you call them? Did you do anything? And of course, now you're in this fight with your client, right? About who's right and who's wrong with these leads. And so I feel like the natural evolution is at some point a marketing agency goes, you know, and you start listening to phone calls and you're like, man, they don't know anything about selling, right? And it's like this epiphany of like, man, our niche that we just spent all this time deciding we were going to dominate in, they don't know how to close anything. And so like, what are we going to do about this? And you dig in and you realize like the front desk people are like handling walk-ins, they're answering phones, they're taking out the trash. Like I remember one conversation we had, the girl was like, well, you know, from 3 to 3:45, I have to walk the doctor's dog. And it's just like, oh my God, how can you expect this person to be closing new leads? But then you, like you mentioned, they also have to answer the inbound Facebook messages that come to the page every day and all these other things, live chat. And so I love bots, right? Like we've given people the ability to build these for a long time, but we sort of forgot about them. And the community, it was kind of like something that was like people weren't just getting to. And I feel like lately we're seeing people just discovering them. And so I'm really excited to start talking about them.
Can I expound on that just for one little tiny bit? My business partner is out visiting one dentist today that has 3 offices. And they're looking at actually hiring someone to follow up with all the phone calls. So we've had that conversation where they've got to follow up with everybody. What this is going to allow us to do, though, is that they can log into this dashboard and see the conversation that's already occurred, right? And rather than give them an Excel spreadsheet of this person called yesterday, I got to go look them up to see if they're an existing customer or not. They'll get to see what conversation the bot actually had. They'll get to see what the patient's initial inquiry was about, and then when they call that person back, then that initial consult, has some context behind it. So that's, that just is one level of service that they can't get with anything right now.
Dude, I'm telling you, so my goal, right? My saying for Capri, my company, is automate everything, right? And I don't like, that's the epiphany that I had. So a little bit of background information about me as well. I used to work in the dental field as well. I used to work at a dental marketing agency in the past. And we, just what you said, we started it from 0. We were in the early phases. We got up to 30 dentists and we were, doing really good with the retainer model and everything. And we were making really good recurring revenue. And then all of a sudden we started getting all these dentists that were like, hey, you sent me hundreds of people and nobody showed up. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, cause that doesn't seem right. And then I started talking to them and I'm like, so how did the conversation go? Why are they saying they can't come in? They're like, oh, we don't know. We don't talk to them. I'm like, what do you mean you don't talk to them? And I was like, oh, so there's a work ethic problem. There's a effort level, time availability problem. And I was like, so the
it's a
next
huge
thing you
disconnect.
have, and so the next thing that you have accountability or you have control, right? Accountability is what everybody relied on by doing like, test calls, doing like putting in test leads, saying like pretending to be a lead and having people call and see if they follow the script and all that kind of stuff. Now you can have control because you can just automate all of that, automate the follow-up, take all of human conversation for a specific topic like dental, right? Something in dental, like a cleaning or something. And just take a whole, batch of leads that are saying the same things and create triggers around it, and then train a VA on the back end to respond to the very few things that don't get responded to with a template. And then you can have a 75% automated conversation back and forth, and with 25% input, and like it's all those, it can complete an objective for you if you want, like it can schedule a booking for you if you want to. I mean, there's so much it can do.
Well, so before we take a look at a demo and what you've architected, which I think is pretty impressive,
Thanks.
you guys have actually put two new ideas into my head, which is originally when we talk about this, we talk about nurture, right? You're generating leads and then you're running the bot to help convert the lead to a booking.
Right.
But you can also use the bot, like you said, to just answer inbound Facebook message flow, right? So it's like, hey, and I love these type of services. Mike Cooch is one of our top affiliates, and this is what he preaches. He's like, you want to sell services that don't require manual work, right? So like, live chat, that's a great value. You can be like, yeah, I can give you live chat. And once you set it up, you don't have to do anything. Well, you can set up, hey, do you get a lot of Facebook messages through your business page? Yeah. Oh, well, we could put a bot on that. Great. Yeah. How much, that's a,
and
it's
all
a
it is just increasing,
value,
it's just increasing data capture rate. That's all it is. It's not even saying that it's going to make you this crazy amount more money, but it's going to increase your data capture, your lead data capture rate by at least 10%, because there's so many messages that go unanswered, right? It goes unanswered.
Yeah. And you could say, do you get a lot of the same questions through your website? Yeah. Oh, well, we can install a live chat bot that will answer a lot of those for you. So basically we can give whoever's dealing with the Facebook messages and the website contact requests, we can give them a lot of their time back just by setting up our bots. And that's something that you set up and you walk away from, right? And so we're not even talking about lead generation. We're talking about,
service.
OLARC and like, these live chat companies where you pay $20, $50, $80 a month just for that service, and now you can provide it under your own white label, which I think is amazing. So,
from the customer's perspective, it's also instant nurturing.
Yeah,
you get the answers back that you're looking for, and yeah, they put enough care into it to say, to give me the answer that I'm looking for, rather than somebody will call you back tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly, like I have lots of friends and family who are small business owners, like local brick and mortar. And that's what they always tell me. They're like, yeah, the biggest problem that I have that I wish I could solve is if somebody called me and I missed it because it's after hours, if they could still have a conversation and still create intent, like that's like, that would be so valuable to me. And so,
and that's a great point. You can do that with HighLevel, right? You can say if somebody calls the Twilio number and it doesn't answer, auto text them back, and then have a bot ready to follow up on whatever comes back to that reply.
Exactly. Capri's got that set up, guys. Just so you know, we have that ready to go, dude.
So why don't you share your screen and show us what you've built for Lee? Let's just fire a couple of questions at it, and then we'll take a look at the structural map on the backside.
Yeah. So I kind of had a conversation already pulled up that this was a few seconds ago or a few minutes ago today, but basically this is kind of what happens. So the first message will come in, which these are like really old messages, but the first message will come in of whatever it is, right? And it'll say, who is this? And this is Ashley with Smiles for Life, or this is Hannah with Smiles for Life, or this is whoever with whatever business name, right? So this is an automated response. How much does it cost? Well, I don't know, because I don't even know what you want. But if you go ahead and book a consult, book an appointment, I'll give you a much clearer idea. Boom, that's a prompt for a booking that achieves a goal, right? So that's an automated response. And then you have, do you accept Medicaid? And in dental field, that's a big thing for dental field, is like, do you accept Medicaid or not? You can set up, unfortunately this time we don't accept Medicaid. If you do accept Medicaid, set up a response. At this time, we are accepting these Medicaid responses. You can ask what insurances they participate with. You can say, what is the practice open? What days can I come in next week? Here's all the time, and you can prompt for everything. What do you have available on Monday? This is an automated response as well. You can see what times we have available to you here.
So you have every day. So like if you type in right now, how about,
I think if I type in,
do you have anything on Friday? It'll fire back that same calendar message.
It should. Yeah. Let me say on Tuesday. Yeah, see, there you go. No problem. You can find
and it says that for Tuesday. And if you want to do something different for Friday, because a lot of practices are closed on Friday, you can set up a different response.
Yeah. So this is, I mentioned to you guys that on Friday I did a high-level how-to of how to build a booking bot, and it was really basic. It could only answer like 3 specific questions, and this is cool because like we just fired all sorts of random variations of those types of questions, and it comes right back with answers. And so again, to reiterate the point, I think a lot of high-level users aren't aware of the extent that you could take this. And
Yeah, so
so
let's show them.
Quinton, show us. Yeah, like let's take a look at.
So this is the entire scheduling bot. This is all of Capri essentially right here. And so it can get, people don't understand that with HighLevel, you can get incredibly intricate with what you want to do because of webhooks and the integrations with Zapier and the integrations with the apps and like all the integrations with Google. It's incredible. So you can have like a whole phrase analysis. This is kind of that chat bot session we were just doing right there, right? Which this isn't actually how it works. This is actually Dialogflow, which is the next step. It's the next level, and I'm getting there. But really what it first comes into is like, they call it neural networking, kind of. It's sort of neural networking, not really. It's not machine learning, but basically it's very simple like this, right? So you add a context whenever somebody comes in, right? You add a context of how it works, and then you add the how much, how to, what costs, whatever phrase detection. And then you just add that context back in as a filter, and then you send the message based on the context. And if there's no context, you prompt for the context until it adds the context, and then you can, determine whatever, right? It's kind of like Dialogflow. And so you can just make a crap ton of those, and that's how you end up getting this gigantic, beast of a thing that then performs the objective, right? Which is to get them into the campaign. So these are the main campaigns, and this is the booking prompts to get them into the actual booking widget. Once they book, now you've created intent and you've created desire, right? So with this intent, you can now put a prerequisite and say, hey, this is required for you to confirm this appointment. You have to, do a phone call. And so then you have a required phone call. And then once that phone call, you have ways of tracking if that phone call gets confirmed. And this is where it gets very complicated, is actually tracking the confirmation process and tracking everything on the back end with triggers is like the hardest part. That's what took the longest, really. But then you can do even after the appointment confirmation, you can verify that the person showed up to the practice by sending messages to the lead, sending messages to the practice, sending messages to the lead again. Like you can submit forms, you can have triggers based on and you can use law of probability to determine if a patient most likely showed up or did not show up. But you have a lot of analytics.
Can you flesh that out a little bit? So this is important for people that want to do like pay per result type of marketing, right?
Yeah, performance-based marketing. Yeah, performance-based. So it's literally just kind of like this, right? Once they confirm the appointment, they get put into a separate appointment reminders campaign. And then in that campaign, once the appointment time passes, we have a trigger that adds them to another campaign. We send a prompt to the lead to say, hey, are you here? If they say yes, it marks them as shown, and it's a 1. That means they showed up. If they don't respond and the practice confirms through a form that we also send automatically, then it shows as 1. If they say no show, it does a trust but verify. So it sends a message to the lead that says, hey, the practice is saying that you weren't able to make it earlier. What happened? And then it has like something. And if they say something along the lines of like, no, I showed up, I was there, then it will automatically mark them as 1 and still say like, we caught you, you were lying, right? So it's accountability. Anywhere that it's accountability booster. So, right. So accountability checkpoint right here. And so we set it up also really intricately so that the, the practice doesn't have incentive to lie. Because a lot of other solutions that are out there right now, if they lie, it doesn't charge them, or that creates conflicts. This is very crystal clear box of like, hey, if you lie, the patient's gonna get canceled. Like it's gonna cancel their appointment. You're gonna look like an idiot to your lead, right?
Gotcha.
And then then you got follow-up processes.
And we're not doing a pay per show model, but at the end of this sequence, it allows us to send out information about getting a review. And, if you're trying to get found in Google Maps, obviously reviews are a big deal. So,
reviews, especially in medical.
Yeah, that's a great point. So basically, again, it's bots along every part of the journey, right? Getting them to convert to the booking, and then botting them after that into confirming that, they had the appointment, that they showed up, and then botting them into leaving a review.
It's extremely intricate. And to be honest with you, like, this is like this is what I do all day. This is like, I spend my whole day in HighLevel, and like, this is like why I kind of have a company around it. But anybody can do this. That's the thing. Anybody with a HighLevel account, with a white label account, can do this and could definitely do exactly what I'm doing. It's just a matter of this took thousands of hours of time. And so that's why I provide solutions to people that don't want to spend that much time, but they want to have this done. But HighLevel does it for all of them, dude. And it's so cost efficient, bro. Are you kidding me? Unlimited white label accounts for however much it is a month. That's I'm blown
$297.
$297 a month, bro.
So Quinton, talk to me about when it breaks down, because inevitably a bot can be put in a position where it sort of breaks
Yeah.
down, and so you want to have a manual backup here. Do you have
Yeah.
steps in place where it triggers out to people to say like, hey,
So yeah, so here's like one limitation, right? So what happens right now is somebody let's see, somebody schedules, and I'm kind of hoping somebody on this live will be able to tell me like a way to fix it. But basically every single one of these messages gets sent into sorry, let me get out of here, into a VA channel right here, right? So this comes through as a channel message in Slack, right? So every
Mhm.
message comes through. So the standard procedure is the VA clicks on it, they go check it out. We use Zaps for all of this and everything. They read it. Oh, it's unread. What does that mean? Okay, nobody, that means the bot responded to it. There's no message here. That means the bot responded to it. So I'm going to go back to this message and put a check mark and go about my day. And that's it.
Mm.
Now, let's say they said something really weird and you had to respond to it. You can either respond to it with the pre-built SMS templates that I already provide to you as the VA to pretty much respond to whatever they have to say. Or if you don't know you don't know what to say, like you don't know what insurance they accept or whatever, you come over here and you add need practice response tag, and it'll send a message to the practice and have them open up a text box that has them put in the text that they want to respond with, and then it sends the message automatically. The VA comes in here and marks it as complete and goes about their day. That's it.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm curious at how
Yeah.
that piece works. So that it actually grabs the message that the practice sends and then shoots it back out through the channel?
Yeah, well, right now we're using a mobile browser login link. It's just they just log in one time on their mobile browser, and it shows up in the conversations tab. I'm
Okay,
messing around
cool.
with some Twilio integrations right now to make it so that it will catch the message body and put it into HighLevel. But you guys got to make me freaking code some API for that. I don't
That's
have time
cool.
to
That's
code
really
API
cool.
right now.
Well, have you passed that on to our dev team? Because
No, I haven't actually.
yeah, so just to put this out there, we're definitely trying to build out our dev partner program so that we can keep
Hmm,
the devs within our community much closer to our roadmap and give
okay.
them the tools that they need. And so
Yeah.
definitely let's get you in touch with Varun and the team so that they
Okay.
can, get your feedback because we definitely are really excited about this sort of surge in bot building
Megabot.
interest.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah. No, I love it, dude. There's other players in the market too. There's other people that are, the reason that it's become so big is because there's other players in the market that have entered with a solution, and they have a custom built solution that uses machine learning and uses, it tries to use NLU and NLP to create this really complex bot that has really supposedly really, really accurate responses and, all that kind of stuff. But it's a little bit of overkill, and it's a little bit, there's no control, right? If you're the agency owner, you have no control of like what that company decides is the best way in your niche to
mm,
control the lead flow, message flow of the conversation, versus with, with Capri, with me, with HighLevel, you have total control as the agency owner. Whatever you think is the best thing to send to the lead to get them to convert, I'll offer my guidance, I'll offer my experience, my history, my experience. But at the end of the day, dude, I'm not in auto, I'm not in gyms, I'm not in construction. I'm not in that niche. So you should definitely be deciding what you want, people to, what the pain points are, and you should have that control to test as you want. Kind of like you guys do with
mhm.
HighLevel. HighLevel is really open to everybody. So like, HighLevel has vertical snapshots that you can use that you guys think would be a pretty good starting point. But like
Mhm.
the user has the keys, right? So the user can
Sure,
make
yeah.
whatever complicated. So somebody can make that crazy ass diagram I made again. They absolutely have the ability to. It's just a matter of like, somebody's already done it, so why reinvent the wheel? It's like, why do
Yeah.
all that time just to save a little bit of money that in the long run is going to mean nothing to you? Like,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's just super exciting. And
Well,
so,
yeah, and you do need to go through it. I mean, not all dental practices are the same. So you do, Quinn, you have started at somewhat of a generic place
right.
that some things apply to some practices and some things need to be expounded on, and some things don't apply at all. So
mhm.
Right.
it's
Well, yeah. So I was gonna show I didn't really want to show this on here, but I'm gonna do it anyway because you guys got me excited now. The true secret as to why this is wild, and I'll probably get in trouble with the people that have been telling me not to show this to everybody, but I'm just too excited. So the reason that this gets better over time, the reason it can replace machine learning literally is because when you have a system with somebody like me and my developers on my team that does this full time, right? You have a form. So every time the VA gets a message that doesn't have an automated response, they put it right into here, right? When they put that into here with whatever campaign they were in, it then comes into auto populates into here. This has the message and everything, and then has an agent trained system. And this populates into a Slack message for a developer, and they go in and they create that trigger, and then they check it off as trained with either a trigger or an SMS. And then you do that. And over time, you go from like 70% response to like 75 to like 77 to like 90 to like, and you know, you get really, really high automated responses, and you don't have to service it anymore.
Wow, this is cool. So we're basically, just to sort of put this into framework and reiterate what we just talked about. Bots and HighLevel are really just a combination of campaigns and triggers, right? And so you've spent, like you said, thousands of hours of just mapping conversations. What are the typical things? What are the responses?
Right.
Okay, we need a campaign, and we need triggers for multiple triggers for that one topic.
Right.
And you've taken it that far. But you've also built this operational system outside of that to make it get better and better,
Get
right?
smarter over
So
time
you're
in
using
your niche.
VAs
Yeah.
to monitor the conversations. You're
Yeah.
using pre-programmed message templates, which I love, which makes the
Yeah.
job of the VA much easier because they're like, oh shoot, the bot didn't know, but I have this list of pre-written responses. And then outside of that, you have an operational system in place to say, okay, this was something wild we didn't conceive of. Let's build this into the
Yeah, if you
bot.
want, right? If you think the likelihood of somebody else asking that, or you think the likelihood of needing that trigger in the near future is pretty high, build a
Mhm.
trigger around it. If not, write it off. It's a one-off, like, that's kind of weird. You're never gonna have 100% perfect response, right? I mean, even Dialogflow has fallback intents, right? Where
Mhm.
if like they don't know what you mean, they just say, you know, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Can you ask that again? And like you can create that in HighLevel too. It just takes a lot more. It's a lot
Mhm.
more pain in the ass process, rather than just having the VA be the fallback intent and say, hey, I don't know what this person said. Practice, help, business owner actually respond. But make that one out of every 40 conversations, and you have a pretty freaking automated system.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, this is really robust. So we've got a question over in Facebook, if you guys don't mind. What about HIPAA? How does compliance factor into all this?
I'll let Chase take care of that because I know he knows the answer.
Well, HighLevel obviously has a HIPAA compliancy level.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd want to activate that as a start. And so it's an additional 297 a month, but it covers all of your sub accounts, and that makes sure all of the data that's going in and out of HighLevel is covered. Now, what questions you're having the bot pull out of people, um, I don't know. I'd have to go to our consultancy team to get specific answers about that. But that's why I love the compliancy group, Joe. If you haven't seen our videos with them, they are fantastic, and you can actually white label them. So I think they charge 2,500 a year, and they actually give a discount to HighLevel members. And then you can mark that up to your clients to get them HIPAA compliant. So if Dr. Bob's practice is not yet HIPAA, they'll work with them, get them compliant, and answer all the HIPAA questions that come up. So you could then go say, hey, check out this bot that we built for Dr. Bob. We just want to make sure all the questions that we're answering in here, asking in here are compliant and all that kind of stuff. And they would be able to put the stamp of approval on it for you. So every practice is different. Every practice accepts different insurance. Every practice asks for different information. But in general, you definitely want to be on the HighLevel HIPAA plan to start, and then go
Very
from
small
there.
investment. Very small investment in the long run when you're talking about 297 extra a month, but you're talking about now, because there's a lot of other solutions out there that I don't know if they're HIPAA compliant, but I know with HighLevel, like we purchased, or when I was using this for a medical marketing agency, we purchased the HIPAA compliance level, and you have to have a HIPAA compliance agreement with your client, but that should be just included in your onboarding contract, essentially.
Yeah, BA.
Essentially.
Yeah, it's a chain thing, and if you go to the HighLevel YouTube account and search HIPAA, you'll see a couple of interviews we've done with the compliancy group, which is awesome. And
So cool.
if I were to go back to an agency working with medical, I would just don't even do anything without having them behind you because
Yeah, for sure.
it's a huge peace of mind.
It is. Yeah. And it's also a huge value add to your clients, to your end clients, is you're like, hey, this is a HIPAA compliant bot. This is a HIPAA compliant, software, AI essentially.
Yeah, so Joe followed up with Slack isn't. And again, so it's a matter of what's going into Slack. If you're just being prompted that, hey,
You have
you
to
need to
have the
go in
login.
to high
Yeah.
level and check
Yeah.
something out, well, then Slack never received any
Yeah.
sensitive information. And so again,
Yeah.
the compliancy group is who you would want to show the whole thing to, and they could say like, oh, that piece where you're pushing the message into Slack, that you can't do that. Just push a notification that, hey, you need to
Yeah.
go
Just
into
the
high
link.
level and check this
Yeah.
out. You know what I mean? So it's
The
just
link, yeah. So the link is encrypted with your password, your username and password. So you have to have the username and password to get from Slack into HighLevel, and that's covered by HIPAA. The message part of it, if you are in a medical specific, in a HIPAA compliant space, and you don't, you think that that's not a good use of the HIPAA compliance, you don't have to transfer the message into Slack at all. You can just put the name, and you can just put the account and the link, and it'll tell your VA to go there.
right.
Yeah, and if people don't know, they should.
Yeah.
Slack is open text. Do not send passwords in Slack, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. This is really awesome. And I think, in our daily onboardings, I teach people and we cover, hey, you're going to generate leads and you need to build a nurture campaign. And the way that I always loved to sell it was, hey, Dr. Bob, there are going to be 3 paths that are going to happen here. Someone's going to claim an offer, get redirected to a booking page, and they're just going to book, which is amazing. But that's a very small percentage of the leads, right? The second is our nurture campaign is going to catch up, right? Our automation is going to kick in. And if you have this on top of it, we're not just talking about an email and a text message that goes back, right? We're talking about.
No, this messages them for like a month.
And then, and so our automation is going to convert a much larger percentage of leads into bookings without your staff even having to get involved. And now you're saying, and we can hook it up to your Facebook page to give you time back there. We can hook it up to your website to give you time back there. And then you've got that HighLevel secret step of the call step, which is like at some point we'll call you and try to put you on the phone with the lead as well. And so like, just doesn't get any better than that when it comes to converting leads into bookings.
Yeah, the overall goal is just to automate everything, right? That's what I started this call with. Automate everything. That's my thing at my company, is automate everything. So anything that can be automated in a reasonable manner and can be used for hundreds of accounts at scale, why the hell not? If you're going to be able to do it, you're probably going to be able to do it with Dialogue or with HighLevel.
Nice.
For sure, with HighLevel.
And yeah, and we're going to keep, I don't know if you heard this, but we're going to keep giving you guys more and more tools. So we're going to build a Dialogflow integration. So we use Dialogflow for our positive and negative intent triggers. We've always been transparent about that. Yeah. But we want to make it easier for you guys to take this even further with Dialogflow and to be able to go in and out of Dialogflow to HighLevel much easier. So that's going to be cool. And I think we're going to, how the piece of your trigger was like, oh, do you have something on Monday? And it came back and it was like, yeah, here's the link to our calendar where you can see all the availability. Yeah. Well, we're actually going to build in, I think, a trigger that will, now that we launched the new calendar, it'll be able to actually pull just Monday's availability.
That will put you in literally the highest ranking of CRMs, because right now that is the one thing that my competitors can do that I cannot do with HighLevel and with Capri.AI, because it's such a complicated query string of extracting available open information from a calendar and putting it in an availability, and then posting whatever they say, posting it in there, pulling the conversation, like the confirmation. But if you guys can do that, it's over, dude. HighLevel is going to take over the world. That'll be, and you know what's cool is that if you get into Capri right now, That is like, that's every upgrade is free. I'm a free upgrade kind of guy, just like you guys are, where everything you guys do is just free. It's just better for
Yeah.
however long you use it. I'm the same way. I never increase prices for updates, dude. I promote updates. I promote people like helping me out. Like, I love it, dude. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
cool. You just got me so fired up.
we're excited, and I mean, I don't know if that's public information or not yet, but I heard
It
Sean and
is now.
Vernon talking
It is
about it, and
now.
they're like, yeah,
Well, don't go live with it or anything. Jeez.
we wanna we really want to do that for the community, because that, how cool would that be? So it's like, oh, they're
That
asking about
would
money. Like, yep, we've got
Yeah,
two,
well, the
three.
thing is, yeah, well, the thing is that Dialogflow does that right now
Yeah,
through a custom integration that you can set up on GitHub. And so if you do integrate Dialogflow with HighLevel, you can absolutely already have that as a function, so you don't need to waste the time to do it within HighLevel. So if you
yeah.
guys get the
Well, so to finish this sort of series on bots, next week we're gonna have a spotlight session with Matt DeSeno, who's
Mhm.
taken this really far with Dialogflow. So it'll
Nice,
probably be cool for you to tune into, because I know that you're working on all that side of the world. And
yeah,
so yeah, we really want to do everything we can on the high level side for you guys, but then also give you the window to like take it to the moon with Dialogflow.
dude, Dialogflow is like, once Dialogflow can just that simple API back and forth, that simple API call back and forth of like responses this and like, it's, oh my god, that fulfillment alone. I literally like got into the Google Cloud Platform course. I downloaded Google Cloud SDK shell. I started learning how to code in Node.js and in Index.js, and I was like, this is so ridiculous. Can Sean just make this happen, please? Like,
Yeah, well, Matt might give you some pointers. I don't want to give away his secrets, but
okay,
the way that he has set it up, it might be a different angle that might help you out.
dude, that'd be cool.
So Lee, thanks so much for joining us. Where are you at right now? I think you said you guys have like a handful of dentists on board so far.
Yeah, we've got 10 clients, 7 of which we manage Facebook ads for, and I think 3 of them we're doing sites
And what's your next milestone
for.
goal? Like 50 accounts?
Our next milestone goal, to be totally honest with you, is we're going to end up breaking into a completely new niche, um, with possibly adding a major client with 45 locations as early as the beginning of next month.
Nice. Well,
Nice.
I'd love to do a roundup. So once you guys get there, let me
So
know.
this
We'll
will
come
this
back
will this will
on.
involve tweaking all of this stuff, working with Quinton a little bit, and then he'll have something for something that's not dental,
Hey, I
Gotcha.
love it, dude.
but
I build
but,
this
but
for
very
any
similar,
niche,
but not quite dental.
any
So
niche,
Very
any
cool.
niche.
Well, thanks
uh,
so much for hanging out, guys. Quentin, if people want your help with this kind of stuff, where do they go?
So direct message me on Facebook. I'm the most open right now on Facebook. You can also look me up on Facebook, just Capri.AI. And right now I'm doing a really cool pay as you close type deal. So for any services that you want to go with me, that you want to use within Capri, I'm actually giving you the opportunity to close your client first and then fill out a kickoff form, and I'll build everything for you, and I'll have the snapshot input for you and the membership for, or not the membership, but I'll have everything put in for you, and I'll pretty much white label and kind of work on pricing with you like that, because I know a lot of people are still kind of recovering from COVID. But
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
thanks much.
all right, bye.